In the world of education, some individuals stand out not only for their dedication, but also for their remarkable achievements. Today, we introduce you to a luminary in the field of librarianship and education, a true advocate for knowledge, literacy, and intellectual freedom. With a career spanning 23 years, she has worn multiple hats from being a 7th and 8th grade ELA teacher to her current role as a school librarian. She is a teacher, a librarian, a school administrator, and a certified reading specialist. Her qualifications are nothing short of impressive. As the past president of the Louisiana Association of School Librarians and the recipient of numerous accolades, including the 2021 Library Journal Mover and Shaker and the 2020 Louisiana School Librarian of the Year, she has left an indelible mark on her profession. Get ready to be inspired by the exceptional Amanda Jones.
Thank you for having me. That introduction made me sound really good.
Can you recall a specific book from your childhood that not only got you excited about reading, but also played a part in sparking your passion for becoming a librarian?
So this is a hard question for someone who loves to read, but I credit Judy Blume's books. Just every single one of them. Judy Blume's books just inspired me, whatever the topic was. But also, I will say the Babysitters Club series. Those just came out when I was young, and I remember saving all of my allowance to go to the bookstore or go to the library and get all of the latest Babysitters Club books. And I joke and say I grew up to become a professional babysitter. But not really. I mean, but it's funny because I knew I wanted to work around kids and be around kids. So those books, the Babysitters Club books, kind of sparked that at a young age.
Yeah, I know those books.
And I love how now they have all the new graphic novel versions. So it's like a whole new generation of kids are learning or discovering those books. It's so great.
Oh, I thought the graphic novel books were the original.
No. See, if you're vintage like me, you grew up, they all came back in the 80s, were the original ones, and they were in just a regular novel format.
Oh, I see. Amanda, you have a rich and diverse background in education, from teaching ELA to your current role as a school librarian. Could you share how your journey led you to become a passionate advocate for libraries and intellectual freedom?
So I've worked at the same school for 23 years. I've been at the same school that I went to middle school at. Like, it's the school I went to as a child, and I've worked there forever, a very small town. And I knew pretty early in, I began as a teacher, that I knew I wanted to be the best that I could be. And so that meant continuing my education. So I continued to take college classes to better my craft as a teacher. And then when I became a school librarian, same thing. I joined all my professional organizations. I attend as many conferences, webinars, read as many education journals, articles as I can. But really, in 2021, I was named the School Library Journal School Librarian of the Year. And I just knew that I wanted to, that's a huge platform. It's a privilege to be named that. And I knew that I wanted to use that for good. And so I started thinking, right, how am I going to use that for good? And then things just kind of, I didn't set out to be an advocate for intellectual freedom. It just kind of happened. But I figured, I have the platform, so I'm going to do the best I can. And then there are influences in my life. Marley Diaz, who I don't know how old she is now, but when she was 13, she came out with a book in around 2018 called Marley Diaz Gets It Done, and So Can You. That book really changed the way I see my profession. And then Ellen O, the author Ellen O, who founded one of the founders of We Need Diverse Books. That organization really made me aware of how diverse our literature needs to be for the kids. And then a good friend of mine, Casey Boyd, who is a school librarian, has been a huge influence on me on learning to find my voice and speak out about injustice. So it's all of those things have kind of led me to where I am today.
You received numerous awards and recognitions in the field. Can you tell us about a particular achievement or project that you are most proud of and what impact it had on your school or community?
Okay, well, this week, Oprah Winfrey mentioned me at the National Book Awards.
Amanda Jones, a Louisiana school librarian. In July of 2022, went to a public library board meeting to speak out against an attempt to ban books. She just spoke about the importance of having diverse books. But she's not stopped fighting against book bans.
So that was like wild. She actually talked about me for a good solid minute. And so I'm really proud. I'm just like the fact I'm still letting it sink in that Oprah mentioned me, which is just huge because Oprah's book club, I grew up watching the Oprah Winfrey show, but what she's done for the book industry has been amazing, the publishing industry. But I will say what I'm most proud of happened yesterday. Our public library has been under attack for about a year and a half for people trying to defund it. And we had a library tax millage up for vote by the citizens. And if it failed, we were going to lose our public libraries by 2026. We would lose funding. And it passed by 168 votes yesterday in our community. And I am really proud because I know that because of the Grassroots Alliance that I helped found in my community to support the public library, that played a part in it. So I'm really proud of that.
Your forthcoming book, set to release on September 2024, promises to shed light on the challenges of book banning in today's America. What inspired you to write this book, and what key messages or insights do you hope to convey to your readers?
Well, if you had asked me 2 years ago if I was going to write a book, I would have said you were just like lying. I never set out to write a book. It just kind of all fell into place. And I thought, I have a story and I have a platform and I need to share what's happening, because what's happening to me being under attack just for being a librarian is not unique to me. It's happening to hundreds, if not thousands of librarians all across the United States. And it's a bigger issue that I wanted to show, that it's not that it's the librarians under attack. It's that it's the books, and it's the books that the people that those books represent that are essentially under attack. So it's your historically marginalized communities, the LGBTQ community, your Black, Indigenous, people of color. That's what's really under attack right now. So I set out when I wrote this book, not just to share my story about what's happened to me, but it kind of goes back and forth between what's happening to me, but the broader issue of what's happening all across the country, not just to me, not just in Louisiana, but to everyone. And it delves into the different politics at play and the hate campaigns and the all of it. There's a lot in it. It delves into all of the different facets of book banning and things that are happening right now. I do hope, though, that what the book conveys is that this attack on intellectual freedom it's not a red or a blue issue. It's a bipartisan issue that we should all be concerned about.
As an advocate for intellectual freedom, you've spoken at various conferences and legislative sessions about the dangers of censorship efforts. Can you share some strategies or approaches that librarians and educators can use effectively to combat censorship and support open access to information?
Yes. So my good friend, my friend Carolyn Foote, who is one of the freedom fighters of Texas, 2 years ago, I did a webinar with her, and I remember her talking about you want to be proactive so that you don't have to be reactive. And so librarians need to be proactive in making sure, whether you're a school librarian or a public librarian, that you have those collection development policies in place and that you have the reconsideration policies, so that if someone, a parent at your school or a public patron at a community member at a public library, they have that process that they can formally challenge a book, because it is their right to challenge a book, but they don't always want to follow those processes. So you need to make sure that everyone from the bottom to the top, and I shouldn't say bottom to the top, I should say from left to right, everyone knows what's happening. So at my school, for instance, everybody knows. The secretary knows what to say if someone calls and complains. Myself, the teachers know what to do if someone emails, the principal, all the way up to the central office staff. Same thing in a public library. You want to make sure the people answering the phones, the workers shelving books, all the way up to the administrators of the over the whole entire library system, everyone's on the same page. You also want to go and make sure that you are in advance speaking out to your elected officials, because they get swept up in this and they believe everything they see on Facebook, just like everybody else. And so you want to make sure you're having those conversations before problems arise. I wish I had done that. I did not know it was going to be needed. But you want to show up. Show up to library board meetings, show up to school board meetings, speak out, follow legislation. Make sure you're paying attention. That's the most important thing. Pay attention.
In your role as an educator, you've been actively involved in promoting literacy and lifelong learning. How do you see the future of libraries and education evolving, especially in the context of the digital age? And what advice do you have for educators and librarians looking to adapt to these changes?
So technology, we're headed to, we're in the digital age, and it's something that we have to embrace. It's not going away. You can't hide from it. So there's no point in running and putting the blinders over, burying your head in the sand. And so you want to learn everything that you can. But as an educator, I use virtual reality. I use, so many different things. But what you have to remember is that those things should be a tool to teach the standards. Like, what are you trying to teach the kids? What is it? Research? What is it about? A good friend of mine, Andrea Trudeau, she just finished her doctoral study on virtual reality and the way it can be used to promote empathy in students. So I think we're going to see a lot of that, how virtual reality and augmented reality can help shape our students. We need to learn about it, know how to use it for good. And then AI is becoming a huge thing. And so we need to teach our students how to figure out what's real and what's not real in this ever-changing world. I think that's very important. And so we can't run from it. We need to embrace it and learn all we can about it.
Before we conclude, Amanda, is there anything you would like to share or add that we haven't covered in our interview? Any final thoughts, messages, or insights you would like to leave our audience with?
Well, a couple things. So school librarians are trained professionals and public librarians are trained professionals. And we need to stop the attacks because we are your parents, your neighbors, your friends, your relatives. We're not, these outside entities. We live in your community. We are one of you. That's what I tell my community. We're one of you. Open dialogue, but is important. But I always go back to the Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop quote that books are windows, mirrors, and sliding glass doors. And every child in my school deserves to see them and their families reflected in the books on the shelves. And that doesn't mean that we have sexually explicit materials in school libraries. It means we have age relevant. We're trained professionals. We know how to broach topics to make them age relevant for the kids that we are serving. Just have conversations with your librarians. Same as the public library. Public library, everyone in the community deserves to see themselves represented on the books on the shelf. Libraries are for everyone. They're not for one certain set of the population. They are for everyone in the community. And then I'll just end with Dr. Tracy D. Hall's quote, "Free people read freely."
Amanda, your journey and insights have been both inspiring and thought-provoking. Your unwavering dedication to the field of education and libraries, your tireless advocacy for intellectual freedom, and your forthcoming book that promises to shed light on the challenges of book banning in today's America all exemplify the profound impact you have on the world of librarianship. Your words and experiences serve as a reminder that librarians are not just strongholds of knowledge, but also treasures of free thought and open access to information. Your passion and resilience in the face of adversity are a testament to the importance of educators and librarians in shaping the minds of communities of tomorrow. Thank you for sharing your story and insights with us today.
Thank you for having me anytime.